We're about to see a whole lot of WWE 2K24, more than you would ever want. And it's gonna happen quite soon, so before that happens, I just wanted to make this video to tell you the 10 most exciting things about WWE 2K24 that you should watch out for, because there's a lot of content coming. Speaking of which, before we get to that list, I just want to do a quick news roundup. The most recent piece of news comes from Brian Williams, one of the developers of 2K, one of the most prominent ones as a matter of fact. He says, bringing down the straps, taking them off is back for certain superstars. So you can't have it done by everybody, but just like how it was in 2K19, for example. I'd presume people like Ricochet and Undertaker, Ricochet, why'd they even say Ricochet? Kurt Angle, those people can bring the straps down, and hopefully in the future they keep this and then expand it to pretty much anybody who wears a singlet, even when you create a custom superstar. You can do it, because I think that's pretty cool. Second piece of news is that we got a bunch of screenshots. If you've been following me, if you're subscribed to this channel, and hey, if you want to see more WWE 2K24 content and wrestling content in general, go ahead and show this button some love. There was a screenshot of Solo Sikoa. I mean, his face looks like kind of bloated, like an alien a little bit. His eyes are kind of like too big or whatever. And then, other than that, he looks good, man. He got his updated attire. The only problem I think I have, and other people pointed out as well, is that his body type is like he's cut, right? He's well cut. He's cut like a diamond. Well, in real life, let's be honest, he's wider, shall we say. So I think his body type, they could have done a better job with him. It just really seems like he's the exact same as last year. It's just that now, instead of having the yellow attire, he has the bloodline attire finally. What about this one? Do you think this is good? Because I myself like it. Like, it's not the greatest thing ever, but she finally looks like a human being, because Becky never had a good looking model. I'll be honest. She always looked horrendous. And last year, she didn't look the worst, but her attire choice was so weird. Like, it was an attire she wore at Raw or something that she wore once ever and then never wore again. And this is not called Royal Rumble 2K24, it's called WWE 2K24, right? So you might as well choose an attire that's gonna make sense to put in the game, because we're gonna be looking at it the entire year. And this is right here, this is it. I think this is beautiful. I think her hair looks better. I think her face looks better. I think everything about her model looks better. Now let's get to the list. Number 10 is a bit of a cheating situation going on, because it's the updated roster. Just like the new model of Becky Lynch, I want to see what they did with Dominic Mysterio, what they did with LA Knight. Did they update his face? Did they update his entrance? Now, does he have that voice lines where he says, not yet, and does the crowd follow along with him? Can you do it anytime you want in the match? How does AJ look? How does Sami Zayn look? Again, new entrances, new moves. I want to see all of those, man. Again, this is obvious, but it's the truth, because for so long now, even though it's just been a year, we had to play a game that was not up to date. I mean, when it came out, the Judgment Day wasn't really a thing. Like, Dominic Mysterio wasn't even in the Judgment Day properly. His version in 2K23 was the babyface Dominic version. That's how far back we're talking about right now. So we're all in a desert, and this WWE 2K24, the updates we're gonna get, the upgrades, it's water for us. But enough of cheating. Number 9 is Casket, Ambulance, and the Gauntlet match. These 3 match types specifically, I know it's more than one thing, but hey, I put them at number 9 because I'm glad that they're in the game. More the merrier, as a matter of fact, but I'm really not excited about them. Like, because Casket, it's gonna be, you're gonna flip your opponent to a casket, press a couple of buttons, maybe button match, maybe press a button like at the exact right spot or something like that, like a quick time event. Ambulance, the same thing, unless you can climb on it, fight on it, throw people off of it, or jump off of it. It's gonna be pretty much the same as Casket. Gauntlet, it's a cool match type. You will definitely offer a challenge, and I think out of all of these, it's the one that I'm most excited for. But again, it's not groundbreaking, and all of these matches are returning matches. Although the mainline WWE games never had an ambulance match, from what I remember, as like a legit match type, unless it was like in a showcase or something. Still, they're not insanely exciting to me, but I'm super glad to have them, and again, more the merrier. Number 8 is another match type. It is the updated backstage area specifically, and then it being 4 players. Now we got real glass that we can break. There's a vending machine now. We can take soda bottles from there and do stuff with it. I guess maybe we can drink it and get a finisher or something like that. It'd be cool. It'd be creative. You know, give us stuff like we saw in Here Comes the Pain, where you can go on a treadmill and run and get your finisher. Creative stuff that's not been done before, stuff that's fun, because this is a video game, and at the end of the day, that's what we want, fun. Ever since, I believe, 2K17, so like 10 freaking years at this point, backstage battles were just one-on-one. So we've been stuck like that for years and years and years, and finally we break that. I think that alone is exciting enough. Also, in the backstage, we have an elevator that's working, and it's upgraded overall. I wonder if it's gonna get bigger, or it's gonna be like the same type of area where now there's just gonna be more in it. Regardless of how it is, I just want it to be substantial, because right now the backstage stuff is fun, but you play that once, 2 times, maybe 5 times, and then you get sick of it because there's not much to do. See, all these upgrades, what I want them to do is to solve that problem that I just talked about as much as they can. Number 7 is the new referees, the official referees that we see on WWE TV and creator referee bunched together, because this is great. This is awesome for Universe mode, for example, or maybe you download a New Japan Arena and then you have to, you know, have these pre-made referees. That's probably not gonna fit the vibe at all. Well, now you can create Reshuzuno, you can create Tiger Hattori and bring him out of retirement. You can create anybody. You can make maybe Teddy Long as a referee. You can create yourself as a referee. Would the game survive without this happening? Yeah, absolutely. It's been surviving for years and years. But does this make an absolutely huge difference? I think so. At the end of the day, wrestling is all about presentation, and getting the control of another major aspect of that presentation is great, because this implies that you won't even be stuck using the striped shirts. Like, you can have such a weird show universe that the referees look completely different than your conventional referees. The point is that it allows us the freedom to do this now, and I think that's pretty amazing. We got super finishers at number 6, and more gameplay stuff is coming, because those are the things that are most important to me. Now, the reason why super finishers are at number 6 instead of being higher on the list is because, you know, we've seen comebacks, we've seen catching finishers, we've seen AA off of the top rope, OMG moments. This really feels like OMG moments. So kinda been there, done that situation. That's why I'm gonna put him at number 6. I mean, we got the trifecta of Crossroads for Cody Rhodes, and that's really the only official example we've gotten. As far as its gameplay effects goes, the screen's gonna go crazy when you're able to hit one of these things, and to hit one of these things you need to gather up 3 finishers. So I'm kind of worried too, because it's not too difficult to get 3 finishers. Will we see this every single match? Because if that's the case, I don't think it's balanced well at all. I think it'll be super annoying. This should be something we're seeing every 50 matches we play. Something like that, to keep it fresh, to not have it be annoying and game breaking, because once you get hit with this SOP, even if you have resiliency stored, it's not gonna matter. It's gonna ignore it. Super finishers are gonna ignore that, which makes sense. But again, this needs to have a lot of unique animations, moves, and ideas, as well as authentic ones, and this gameplay aspect needs to be balanced super well. Number 5 is diving to a group of people outside. Now, if they're in a bunch, you're just gonna dive all to them instead of just hitting one person. I think that's a great addition. Very cool to see, because we see it on real life so many freaking times, and we've been seeing it throughout years and years now, and I'm glad I got this in here. I'm really wondering how it's gonna work. One thing that would be really cool is that if you're diving onto an enemy and then a friend, I would hope that your friend would hold the enemy, and right as you're finishing the dive, he would get away and save himself. He would make sure the opponent gets wrecked. So really excited to see how this one works. And then we have at number 4, weapon throwing and reworked physics. There's literally nothing negative to say about this. You might not ever use this feature, but the fact that it's there, it's awesome on its own. You can throw pretty much everything besides one weapon, according to the developers. So it's gonna be interesting throwing tables at people, chairs at people. They said reworked physics. I put this here, but I'm not too hopeful. I'm sure they just said like the chair will be weighted according to physics, and it's not gonna go crazy just because you're throwing it to everybody. Or you can, by the way, catch it, or your opponent can catch what you're throwing, counter it in a manner of speaking, and I think that's pretty sweet too. Just more opportunities for fun gameplay, and you know, this is proven to be awesome because it was in the older games like SVR 2011, or go back to SmackDown and Comes of Pain. You could do this stuff anyway, and it was always super fun. So many funny moments, so many awesome moments can come from this. Reverse physics, like I said, though, I'm not expecting anything major, like when you would bump somebody on the chair. They would actually sell that in SVR 2011. I don't think these are back. If they are, awesome, but the point is we don't know, so I do want to see how they work. And then more than that, I want to see number 3, which is the Booyah back and forth minigame. That happens pretty much every match, and I hope they follow the example of Fight Pro Wrestling World. The end results of these exchanges are so varied in Fight Pro Wrestling World, and it can surprise you. It can go the exact way you were thinking it's gonna go. It takes into account the people's attributes, their stamina, the point of the match they're doing this at, the momentum they have. It's a great system, honestly. And then all you need to do to engage with it is to mash the buttons as fast as possible. So I think it's really nice when it happens in Fight Pro Wrestling World. It doesn't interrupt the game that much. If they can strike a similar balance in WWE 2K24, I think it'll be absolutely perfect. But I mean, I can immediately imagine picking Stone Cold and The Rock and them going back and forth. Like I said, as long as this is balanced well and it doesn't get in the way of your fun, I think this is a great addition, especially when simulating matches, which I'm a huge fan of doing, by the way. And then at number 2 is another gameplay feature which makes all the difference in the world, man. Dynamic camera and a different camera angle. So far we know there's one, and that's the Titantron camera angle, where you can look at, say you're in a rumble. Oh, who's coming in, who's coming out, just like how you were used to in the older games. I hope they updated those animations too, just because of this camera now being included, because I think that'd be pretty sick to see. And when they say dynamic, can we switch it like really quickly, or do we have to go to a menu just like we do in NBA 2K? I'm still 100% down for this and really excited to see it, because it makes the biggest difference in the world. When I saw WWE 2K22 for the first time, that was the only thing that I noticed. It was the biggest thing that I noticed, was the different camera angle, where we were now a lot more closer to the action and to the wrestlers. I'm just hoping we have more than one camera angle though. And if those angles dynamically switched up, where when you were watching a match, for example, as if you're watching a match on TV, instead of having the hard cam like 100% of the time, I think maybe 30-40% of the time we can see the Titantron cam, and it just switches around every now and then. Like, that'd be so good. That would just be something kind of small, but would make an insane amount of difference. And then at number 1 is the special guest referee match, because I really do believe in this match type. I went back to playing it at SVR 2007 with my friends at Off the Top. Shout out. You could do a special referee in a Hell in a Cell, and it was absolutely a blast. Role playing as a referee, having the power to end the match or keep the match going as long as you want to, pissing people off. Just the dynamic, the fun you can have is insane. And what really drove this point home for me, in the sense that special referee is just such an awesome match, is that in one of my videos I was talking about this, so I needed to get some footage. I booted up WWE 2K14 and just by myself with the AI played the special guest referee match, and even that was fun because I picked Randy Orton and I was like, oh, RKO out of nowhere, because you know what, I'm the wiper and you cannot do a damn thing about it because I'm the referee of this match. So it's extremely fun. I'm glad they brought this back. I really want to see if you can do 1-on-1, 2-on-2 matches, Hell in a Cell, maybe even an elimination chamber. Go crazy, you know what I mean? Like any match you can have a referee with. I'd hope they brought it back that way, but we're gonna have to wait and see. But not for long, because literally the gameplay that I'm talking about, the Onslaught, it's coming really soon, and I gotta give a shout out to some of the YouTubers here. Here's Steve OG and Simply Better King. These guys are just saying, hey, you can use all my footage, just credit me properly, and I think that's awesome. They definitely don't have to do this, but they did, and so I'm, you know, cool to be a part of a community that's very chill. So when is the footage in question coming out? At the beginning of February. Yeah, this is the 31st of January. So yeah, it's close, and we're gonna talk all about it. That means universe, my rise, all the gameplay features, all the graphics, all the updates. I'm gonna make a summary video about it, and when the game comes out, we're gonna go even wilder. So in the meantime, I suggest you keep an eye on YouTube and social media in general about 2K24 if you want to learn more, and keep an eye on this channel. Subscribe for more WWE 2K24 content, and before you get out of here, if you want to learn more or just refresh your memory about WWE 2K24, check out this video right now you're seeing on screen. I think you're gonna like it. That being said, I'm getting out of here.